Hello everybody, Rogue Fox here, and welcome back to another episode of Truly Bedrock. This is episode 18, and I hope all of you, at least my viewers in the US, had a very safe and happy 4th of July. I hope as you're watching this, you are watching this video with all of your fingers intact. So anyways, in the last episode, what we worked on was this smoker module right here, and I have done a little bit more work since then. I know Prowl has done some work as well, but let me go ahead and show you what we got done. So as you can see, we do have smokers in a line here, and at the moment I guess they just shut off. Yeah, so they have kelp going in, and yeah, I'm gonna have to refill this in just a moment, but that will be perfect. So actually what we're gonna do is, where is this lever at? It's right, not the best place for it, but we're gonna go ahead and do that. And what's gonna happen right now with the way I set this up off camera was all the kelp is now going to collect into this double chest, the kelp that is falling down right there. So at the moment, only that center kelp farm that Prowl made is dropping down into this line, and with that I've kind of just been burning all the kelp and making it collect down here. So you'll notice that I do have both sides filled, and that's because, like I said, going back to what we did in the last episode, we have two lines going this way, and what's going to happen is all the kelp is going to go down. So far, only enough kelp is filling up this one. It's not even getting completely full. So at any one time, it was about a stack and a half, maybe 2 stacks at the most. So right now, I do know that this smoker, 2 smokers can handle 1 module. And of course, we do have 3 modules up there. So what we're doing over on this side is we are smelting all that kelp, or smoking it, cooking it. I mean, it's a smoker. I guess we're smoking it. We're smoking all of the kelp that comes down, and as this continues to collect in the chest, we can disperse that later on. But this is going to have all the kelp come down into here, and then it's going to cook, come down to this end, and from here what I'm going to do is craft up a bunch of dried kelp blocks, and then from there, what we're going to do this episode is work on the redstone that I mentioned that is going to feed all of these hoppers, because if we take a look, we do have a minecart line or a rail line going around, and there's hoppers here that will be feeding fuel into the furnace. And the purpose of this is so if we're crafting all of our dried kelp, I'm not trying to go here, like place 8 in, 8, 8, and so on and so forth. What we can do is place the kelp, the dried kelp blocks into a chest here, and then send it along its way down the line, and it will be evenly distributed. So I did talk about that in the last episode, and we did a little mock-up of how that would work if you caught that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the changes that I've made so far. Starting with this little circuit right here, what I did was we do have a hopper facing towards me, and then if we can hop up here, we do have a hopper facing towards this hopper right there. So this is currently retracted, which means all of the kelp, as you saw, is being kept in the double chest. And I don't know why I have that as a feature. I just thought it would be useful at some point, I guess. But right now it is a useful feature. That way, I guess what I was doing right now was just trying to cook up the dried kelp blocks and make sure it wasn't getting too full, if that makes sense. But what we have here, once I extend these back out, because we have hoppers facing in both directions under the double chest, like what we did with the smooth stone furnace by the slime farm, it is going to evenly, or at least close to evenly, pull all the kelp into the both hoppers and then go into both lines. So that way, for example, if we didn't have this, only 1 smoker would be getting filled, and then this line wouldn't be touched at all. So you would imagine, instead of 2 running, we would have to wait for this whole thing to fill, and then it would eventually have to go down this way, and that is not being efficient. So I thought the more efficient thing to do would be to have at least 2 going at the same time, and then from there it can work its way down, so we'll always have both sides active at the same time, if that's making sense. And then from here, Prowl had already had a hopper line going down, where that little gap is in the stone there, and let's see if we can make our way over here. So what I ended up doing was bringing it up 2 blocks, and he had a little gap right there. I went ahead and filled it in. So at the moment, I also broke this open, So if you haven't seen it, there is kelp that is falling down from the central module right here of the kelp farm. and that is falling into this hopper here, making its way down, and then of course making its way to the double chest. And I did leave Prowl a little note of what it does, and I also let him know in Discord of the changes that I made. So that is what I had done so far. Now, like I said, what we're going to do is work out the redstone circuit that is going to allow us to fill up the minecart with all of the dried kelp blocks, and then it's going to evenly distribute it. So it's going to keep going back and forth, until the minecart is completely emptied. I know I began the episode with a bit of rambling, but like I said, when it comes to redstone, I really love explaining redstone. So for those of you who may get inspired to do something like this in your own world or your own realm, I kind of want you to understand how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. So yeah, I do try to explain everything as best as possible. So that is why we had that little section of rambling on, as I'm rambling on again. So before I keep rambling on, let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do first, like I said in the last episode, I want to start the line over on this side. So it runs up, goes around, comes here, and then comes back around, and it's going to stop. And again, I mentioned this in the last episode, this is going to be based off of a tutorial I did about a month or so ago. So as always, a card will be popping up in the top right corner for this tutorial, and I will also have a link down in the description below. But what we're going to do is, I guess, I don't want to mess up the stone pattern, but we'll just go ahead and do that for now. I'm sure Prowl won't mind. I mean, we're only going to see this, right? So, I mean, everything is pretty much stone. So yeah, cobblestone's fine, whatever. Let's go ahead and do that. And then what we're going to do is grab our powered rails. And then that's going to go there. That's going to be powered. And then we're going to have a detector rail, which is right here. A detector rail right there. And then we have a regular rail, and then a power rail right there. And then we need a block here, a block there, and then a stone button. So that part is all done. So from here, all we would do, this is where it would get filled. We press it. It's going to go along its way, or on its way, disperse all the dried kelp. And like I said, this is always going to go back and forth until it is completely empty, and once it's completely emptied, it will come back here and stop. Blocked my face. From here, what we're going to do is grab our comparator and run a comparator out from that block, and that is going to go into a block right here, and then that's going to go into redstone dust, like that. Repeater, set that to 4 ticks. Oh, that was laggy. 4 ticks. Bam. Repeater set to 1 tick, and redstone dust. And that is the redstone all completed for this circuit. So, I guess I'll explain it again. So we're going to press that. So we have that detector rail, and the point of this detector rail, so what that's going to do is that's going to allow the comparator to detect when the minecart crosses the detector rail. So as you saw right now, and I wish I could place the button. Let's go ahead. I'm going to break it temporarily just so we can kind of see what's going on here. Bam. And we'll place it right there. That should be good. So we press it. You see, because it is empty, just like a comparator does, it detects what's in the hopper minecart or whatever that chest entity, I guess, is, if it can detect what's in it. But because this minecart is empty, it's not going to have anything, and it's not going to give us a redstone signal to power this line once again. But if we go ahead and let's just place in, do 1 kelp block, because it will disperse it to this front one, and I can easily retrieve it. So we can go ahead and place 1 in, and then see, now it gave us a redstone output. So you can imagine, now of course again, this minecart when it comes back is going to be empty. So when it comes back down, it is not going to give a redstone output and is not going to trigger the redstone to shoot it off once again, which is why once the thing is empty, it stops. But you can imagine if we have more. So we do have 16 smokers here. So if we have a stack of dried kelp blocks, this would need to make 4 trips. So of course this will come back down with 48, and it's like, oh hey, we still have stuff in it, and then it'll give us a redstone output, and then send it back on its way. Oh man, I'm rambling again. Now that you have the long-winded explanation of what it does, let's go ahead and give you the visual aid. So we're going to go ahead and run this. Now, I'm going to have to retrieve these blocks again because at the moment, like I said, only these 2 smokers are active. So at this point, there's really no reason for me to have any dried kelp blocks in here if everything's going to be cooking down there. But, okay, I'm going to try to stop talking now. So again, 64 dried kelp blocks, we have 16. Again, this is going to need to make 4 trips. So if we press it, that's going to go around, and because there is kelp in there, those are going to turn on, and that's going to come back. And you can see there's 32. Oh, I guess it does make 16 times 2 because it does come back. That is 32. So it only needs to make 2 trips. And again, now it's empty, and it's going to stop. And then, of course, if we check all of these, each one is going to have 4, because, again, 16 times 4 is 64. Well, I do have coal in there, so they are going to be hanging out in these back lines. But like I said, because we are not actively using these ones, there is no point, really, for me to have dried kelp in any of these. So I'm going to take these and move them down. And then what we can do before this gets way too full is... Can I reach that from here? Oh, let's see. Jump. Got it. Okay, so now you see this. These are going to extend, and both of these are going to be draining the double chest. And again, it's going to do it as evenly as possible. So these are going to fill up, and then these are going to fill up. So again, both of these are active, and again, I'm going to collect all the dried kelp down here and then turn them into dried kelp blocks so we can keep fueling our system here. Alright, this is a good example of how this is supposed to work. So because I let the kelp collect for too long in the double chest, this one did get full. And because this one is full, when it comes down, it's like, oh hey, we're full. We can't come down here. And then it makes its way down, and then it's like, oh wait, we're empty. We can come down here. And then it'll drop into the next furnace. And then you can imagine, as we have more modules active of the kelp farms above, it's going to keep repeating this process. It's going to get full. It's going to move down. And then at the same time, we are splitting the kelp between both lines. So we have all of these going at the same time. And with all of this completed, there isn't much more we can do at the moment. And that's because the iron farm is pretty much all depleted of its iron, so we do have to AFK that at some point and get more iron. But I mean, for the most part, this is done. So like I said, we are going to have another source that we are going to be cooking, and like I said, I don't know if we're supposed to share it, but I'll go ahead and share it. I don't know if Prowl has yet, but what we're going to have above is, on this level, this is going to be a potato farm. Now, I know there is a bug currently with villagers and potatoes, but once that gets fixed, we are going to have potatoes up here that are going to be harvested by the villagers and drop down, and they are going to come down here and also be turned into baked potatoes. So we do have this line running, and because this is pretty far off to the side, it should be pretty easy to link up all 3 of the kelp farms of their outputs into the one. And I imagine even if we do it on the other side, we could have some sort of different system that's going to be cooking all the baked potatoes. For example, we're pretty much going to duplicate this and place it over on this side, and that is going to be our baked potato cooker. So that is a plan for later on down the road. But like I said, we're waiting for that bug to be fixed, and of course, we are all out of iron. So what we're going to do is head back over to the base area, and we are going to finish working on... Wow, it's actually looking pretty cool from up here. It's getting a lot more filled in. Yeah, we are going to finish working on the bakery here, because That was supposed to happen in the last episode, but it didn't. So, I mean, this episode is as good as any to finish up the bakery. Okay, so I pretty much have all the supplies that I need. I know I'm going to be 2 looms short because I am all out of string. So I'm not too concerned about that. But with that, let's go ahead. We can actually place in the loom blocks first. And again, to give this trim, I'm facing the looms this way. Just like that. And then when we get to the other end, I face it. Whoops. Oh yeah, we do have the beacon over here. So I'm going to dig a little bit quicker. I face it that way. So that way you can't see the front of the loom block. And then we go this way. And again, I am going to be 2 looms short. And now we go this way. Bring this all the way around. Whoops. And I went ahead and started placing in the smooth sandstone also. And let's go ahead and put these in. So again, I really like using the looms as a trim. I think it looks really good with the sandstone and then with the terracotta like we did over at Foxmart. So that is in place. And then we can just go ahead. I think this is enough smooth sandstone. But we just go ahead and place these in. And we got a crouch place so we don't try to use the loom like that. And run this up. That should be good. So yeah, I like the way, everything was enclosed. So we have this little area where we can access everything. And again, this has our cocoa bean farm and then our automatic wheat farm. So that is looking really cool. Now from here, all we have to do, and this is where I'm not sure if I have enough, but we just go ahead and grab all of our slabs and start slabbing the top. Low slabs, of course, so nothing spawns on top. And this also gives us our roof. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I will be right back. And finally, the shell of the bakery is all finished. So we have everything completed, and I realized that I don't really have any depth on the side of the building, so I went ahead and switched these out for the cut sandstone. I think that's what it's called now. And I did it on this side, but of course we still needed the 2 looms. But it is looking a bit flat still. So if we come back here, I mean, it looks good, but kind of from here, it's like it is really, really flat. So what I'm thinking, what we can do just to add a little bit more is probably right here, something like that. Put some bushes up, and I went ahead and I'm going to go with the jungle trap doors because I'm pretty sure that's what I went with down there at the butcher shop. So we can go ahead and do something like this. Just to give it a little bit more decoration and, like I said, give it a little more depth off to the side, which I think is looking cool. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have that off to the side, and yeah, that adds to it a lot. And again, we do have the park over on this side, but we still went 1 back of the smooth. So this would go right here, like this. And then we place, whoops, fell in the hole. Place these in. We can knock this out. And let's go ahead and take a step back and look. And I know it's kind of hard to see because we do have greenery over on this side, but I think just having that definitely adds to the build here. And probably this is an even number, so maybe if we do another one right here on both sides, because remember on the other side we still have the park that I need to fill in. Knock that out. So just to give it, like I said, a little something off to the side to give it some depth, just to kind of cover up the fact that this is flat. And over to this side. Oh, okay, it might be a little full, but I guess this will work. So again, 1 right there. And trapdoors. And that's what I was worried about, because right here, like I said, I wanted to place in another park bench like we did right there, and I wanted to bring the bushes back this way, but I'm not going to be able to do that if I have this there. So I'm going to have to think about this one. But let's see, walking through the park. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Maybe even throw some vines on the wall. But yeah, I think that definitely helps with adding some depth off to the sides. Now, after thinking about it for just a moment, what I decided to do was just to block this off. So I'm not going to do a park bench here, and I went ahead and blocked this off with jungle leaves, and that allows me to keep the trapdoors right there. And still, if we look into the park, I still think it looks pretty good, and especially adding, I just went ahead and threw it there because it was looking a little too green, so I wanted to add some color, and just throwing a rose bush right there definitely helped it out. So I might spread some 2-high flowers throughout this area also, just to break up the green and give it some little height here and there. But yeah, I like the way this turned out. The bakery's all done, and with that, I think this is a good place to end today's episode, and I will have to add the item frames to show off the cookies, cakes, and everything like that, just to fill in the shop window. But with that being said, everyone, this is the end of today's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Rogue Fox, and I will see you later.